There was one situation that was really, really hard for me, that left me really heartbroken, but that led to even bigger growth. Stay in that assumption that the advantage will reveal itself, and it absolutely will. Hi, and welcome to Knowing Into Being. My name is Max, and I thank you a lot for tuning in. Today I want to talk about something that's called the advantage method, but before I dive deep into this and tell you how to apply it, I want to give you some backstory of mine so you can know what big advantages all the hardships in my life had. I had some really hard things in my life to deal with, and the first one was from birth on. And it's a very rare gene defect, a condition called brittle bone disease, which means your bones break really easily. It's like as if you have osteoporosis from birth on. So your bone mineral density is lower and the bones break easier. Sounds horrible, it also is, but it led to some very big advantages that I will talk about in a second. So with this disease, I broke many bones, I think around 30 times or so. I forgot, because I luckily didn't get hurt for a long time. But it was very difficult as a kid because I couldn't understand that I have to be extra careful. And even though my mother was watching me all the time as good as she could, still it happened quite often that I broke my bones. And this had a big advantage, and that advantage is that even though I never liked school, I have ADHD, by the way. I will talk a little bit more about that because that also had another advantage. I couldn't focus well, the school was hard, I hated it, but because of my bone disease, I had to go the way of education. I couldn't do any physically hard job, I knew that. That was my drive to finish high school, to go to university, and to study and go a path of education and also spirituality, because these hardships also led me to become more open to a lot of things, and some of that was also spiritual teachings. I was diagnosed when I was just starting university, and the diagnosis helped a lot because then I got some medicine and that also helped a lot. But after a few years I didn't want to take it anymore because I couldn't tolerate it anymore. Physically and mentally it was draining. All the energy that this medication gave me, all the focus that it gave me was missing later. I felt really exhausted, and that's why I don't take this anymore for many years. In case you want to know what that was mostly Ritalin and a little bit of self-prescribed other things that I don't want to go into detail. The ADHD also led to a big advantage, and that is my current job that I have outside of YouTube, which is teaching in a language school. And I really liked the job, and I really found my passion for teaching. And that in the end also led me to be here talking to the camera right now and teach the law of attraction, the law of assumption, and other spiritual concepts for you guys on YouTube. So the ADHD had the advantage, it led me to teaching, it led me finally to YouTube. The brittle bone disease had a big advantage, it led me to education and to spirituality. So these are two very big advantages that I'm very happy for, and my life wouldn't be as awesome as it is right now if I didn't have these hardships that I overcame, and everything is very good now, so I can absolutely not complain. Where I am is totally good, it's absolutely great in many regards. And very often, seemingly bad situations, seemingly bad events, trouble, pain, emotional, physical, it often is a blessing in disguise, and it leads to a much bigger advantage that you will either recognize rather soon, or even after years, like in my case. Some advantages show up quickly. I have another one I want to talk about in a second. Others take months or years to unfold, but you will find them and you will recognize them and you will be happy with where you are after these bad situations played out and you found your way out of it with the advantage method. Another thing that was very important for my spiritual growth was when I got really emotionally hurt. I had breakups in my life with my partners, but mostly good, so I was not really used to a bad one. I'm still friends with most of my exes, and there was one situation that was really, really hard for me, that left me really heartbroken, but that led to even bigger growth regarding being present in the moment, being able to watch your thoughts, regarding reflecting about your own actions, regarding observing your mind, and taking control over your thoughts. And that situation was, I had this very good friend that I was hanging out with all the time. Basically every day. We spent every free second together. After work, on the weekends, we did everything together, and we both were really happy about this deep friendship and connection. And after a while, something changed, and I still don't know until this day what happened. But suddenly he didn't want to hang out with me anymore. And of course I was upset, but I kind of accepted it and gave him the space and didn't contact him often. And then after I tried to contact him like twice within 2 months, so once a month, just text him, hi, how are you? How's it going? Do you want to go out or something, have a coffee or something? And when I texted him the second time in these 2 months, he suddenly accused me of being a stalker, which led to some little discussion. It wasn't even a fight, actually. It was just suddenly we had different expectations of our friendship, it seemed. And I didn't think about anything bad in this moment. And then he suddenly blocked me completely, my phone number, all the social media, everything, and just disappeared out of my life. I was really, really shocked. I was really, really hurt. I felt really, really bad for basically weeks to months until I learned my good, amazing lesson, until the advantage set in. And the advantage was that I was not only going deeper into the law of attraction and the law of assumption, but I also learned a lot about letting go, surrendering. I came across David Hawkins, Eckhart Tolle. I started practicing to be present in the moment, to observe my thoughts even more, to be able to control my thoughts, because I was really, really obsessed also at some point. I wanted to manifest this person back, and because I was really obsessed about manifesting him back for a while, of course it didn't work, because you cannot manifest anything from that state of extreme importance and extreme wanting. I was really trying hard. I was watching hundreds of videos. I was reading books. I was learning a lot about the law of attraction and the law of assumption. But I was so into it, and I was so focused on it, and that manifestation was so important for me that, of course, I could not successfully manifest him back. And then I found letting go, and it was the biggest advantage in my life. I learned how to let go. I learned how to surrender. I learned how to trust the universe and trust my own manifesting power. I learned to relax, and relaxing is actually one of the biggest keys in manifesting. And once I learned that, I kind of was over this thing already. I was over him, and I still did my manifestation practices. And then I manifested an amazing person coming into my life, and I'm so happy about that, much happier than I was before. And that was another advantage from this experience and all what I learned from it. I now can manifest much, much better than before. I manifested a lot of amazing things since then. I manifested this apartment. I manifested my back pain to go away. I manifested to work a little bit less in the language school so I can do more YouTube. I manifested really amazing things, money, relaxed times, being really fine with where I am. I love my life, and I love doing YouTube and being here for you guys. And I would not be here right now if not all of these things had happened. This emotional pain led to letting go and gaining control over my thoughts and manifesting better than ever before. And all of this together made me very strong. It gave me all the opportunities that I have right now, and I'm super, super happy about these things that happened, and they gave me these huge advantages that lead me to the life I love and live right now. So I want to go a little bit more general and then tell you the exact steps that you can take to implement the advantage method. So as you could see from my story, a lot of seemingly bad things are actually a blessing in disguise, and you will find the advantage maybe right away, maybe very soon, like a few weeks or a few months, but maybe even after years. But always be open to the advantage, because there will always be one. Always be positive with where you are. Always accept your situations, no matter how difficult they seem, no matter how shitty something looks. If you see the advantage, you will raise to a higher vibration, you will raise to a higher lifeline, and you will manifest better things. Come out of that difficult situation, and from there even step up and manifest something amazing. Stay in that assumption that the advantage will reveal itself, and it absolutely will. So now finally let's go to the 5 steps of the advantage method according to Vadim Sealand. I really like Vadim Sealand and Reality Transurfing, and what I like even more is the book Tufti the Priestess, which I highly recommend to you guys. Read it, you will see. It has some really key magic elements that you can use to manifest amazing stuff. If you want, I can do more videos about that. Let me know in the comments below. So the advantage method has the following 5 steps. I will read this from my notes. Step 1. Catch yourself at the non-acceptance trigger. This means a situation that you don't like or an event that you don't like. That's the non-acceptance trigger. Step 2. Wake up. Say to yourself, I see myself, I see reality. Vadim Sealand calls it finding the center screen, and the center screen is a really important concept in his work, and that basically means mindfulness, to observe your inner world and your outer world, take a step back and see it as it is, observe your own thoughts, observe your mind, and observe what's going on outside, but without judging or interpreting or anything. Just see it. I see myself, I see reality. Step number 3. Ask yourself, what is the advantage in that? As I already said, you will find an advantage. Maybe you find it immediately, or maybe you find it later, but you will find one. And that is step 4. If an answer comes to you, accept it and take the advantage. Step 5. If no answer comes to you, try to accept the idea of the advantage anyway. And that's exactly what I said. to assume the advantage, even if you cannot see it yet. So the universe is always moving things around. There's always movement in the background that you often cannot see anything happen yet, but people, parts, everything is being shifted around to create your manifestations. If you assume that there is an advantage, then there will also definitely be one, and it will reveal itself to you sooner or later, so just assume it if you could not find one right away. One more thing I want to say. So no matter where your journey is, no matter what happens, no matter how bad it seems, always accept where you are, always be okay with it, surrender, be happy with all the good things in your life. I'm quite sure that most of you watching this actually have a really good life overall. And if you look at other places, at people, there are people out there that are really, really sick. There are people out there that have nothing. They don't have food, they don't have water, they don't have a roof. So our lives here are actually pretty good anyway. And everything else is just a luxury, basically. Of course, we have a high standard, but always look at the reality of this planet and how many people have nothing. So there is always something to be grateful for. If it's your cup of coffee in the morning, great. If it's your friends that you have, amazing. If it's your hobbies, absolutely great. Yeah, so there's always something to be grateful for. Accept any situation, either just seek the advantage, and if it's invisible, then just assume it, and the advantage definitely will show up. So, I think that's all for today. Thank you so much for tuning in. Apply what you learned. Always look for the advantage. Always assume the advantage. And you will see it's gonna have amazing, beautiful impacts on your life if you do that. Thank you so much for tuning in. I really appreciate you. Thank you so much for watching the whole video. Thank you for liking, commenting, and subscribing. Leave your questions down below. I'm always very eager to answer and communicate with you. Of course, you can also leave your experiences. Maybe you experienced similar things where hardships turned out to be actually big chances and big advantages later in your life. And thank you so much. I cannot wait to see you again in the next video. Have a great night or day wherever you are. Happy manifesting. See you next time. Bye bye.